And now Don Amici and Francis Langford as John and Blanche Bickerson in The Honeymoon is Over. The Bickersons have retired. 3 o'clock in the morning finds Mrs. Bickerson wide awake and anxious as poor husband John, victim of a progressive insomnia or Farclay's syndrome, a condition which causes the patient to awaken abruptly every 2 or 3 days, gives audible proof of his dread affliction. Listen.
If he doesn't stop it, I'll die. Oh, I've tried everything. I've rolled him over, I've snapped my fingers, I've uncovered his feet, he keeps right on. They say if you whistle in a monotone, maybe that'll work.
Blanche, wake up.
What's the matter?
Turn over your side. You're whistling.
I know I'm whistling. It's the only way I can stop you from snoring.
Oh, it's just your imagination. I never snore. Go to sleep.
John, don't take it too lightly, John Bickerson. It's habits like that wrecks more homes than drinking.
It doesn't wreck my drinking.
Nothing could wreck your drinking. Is it any wonder we can't afford even the bare necessities of life when you squander every penny on that stuff?
I never squander anything.
I was cleaning up yesterday, and I found an empty bourbon bottle in the laundry hamper.
What about it?
I found another empty bottle under the icebox and 2 more empty bottles in the chandelier. That's where your money goes, isn't it?
It is not. I never bought an empty bottle in my life.
I worked like a slave to save $1. Never a word of gratitude. I spend half my life cooking your meals, and what do I get for it? Nothing.
You're lucky. I get indigestion.
That's right. Complain about my cooking.
Oh, I eat everything you give me.
You didn't touch the rhubarb pie I made.
Well, it didn't look good.
What was the matter with it?
Who ever heard of a pie 2 feet long?
Well, I couldn't get any shorter rhubarb.
I hate rhubarb anyway. I hate all desserts, and you know it. Why don't you quit wasting your time making them?
The minute I stop making desserts, you'll start asking for them. I know you, John. You're just the most contrary person
Blanche,
that
will
ever...
you please stop talking?
No.
Why not?
Because if I stop talking, I'll fall asleep, and then you'll start snoring and get me up, so the only way I can get any sleep at all is to stay awake all night.
Now, go figure that one out.
Besides, I'm too sick to sleep.
Uh-oh.
I don't think I'll live through the night. I'm in such terrible pain.
What's the matter now?
I've got neuralgia or something. The pain starts in my temple and goes down my face, and it jabs like a needle. Then I get dizzy, and I feel as though I'm going to fade away.
You say it, but you won't do it.
Why don't you do something for me and end my misery? I told you I'm dying.
Okay, put on the lights.
The lights are on. Take off your sleep shade.
Oh. Where do you keep your stockings?
Stockings? What do you want my stockings for?
You want me to end your misery, don't you? Give me a stocking.
John, you're going to strangle me.
Oh, I'm not going to strangle you.
Then what do you want my stocking for?
I'm going to soak it in bourbon. It's the finest remedy in the world.
John Bickerson, you're not going to tie any bourbon-soaked stocking around my face.
You don't tie it, you chew it slowly. You start at the toe and gradually work your way up to the top.
Is that supposed to put me to sleep?
No, but it'll make it a pleasure to stay awake. Now, where's the bourbon?
I don't want it. I don't want you trying out those insane remedies on me.
All right, then, suffer. Put out the light.
How can anybody be so unfeeling?
Well, I'm sleepy, and it's after 3 o'clock. You won't let me help you? You just want to keep me awake, don't you? Why don't you admit it?
I'm sick.
Well, chew a stocking.
You wouldn't didn't tell Gloria Gooseby to chew a stocking.
Oh, now, don't start with Gloria Gooseby.
Believe me, that woman knows how to get sympathy and attention.
Blanche, can't I spend one day of my life without Gloria Gooseby?
Is that why you've been spending your days?
I forbid you to ever mention that woman's name again as long as you live. Do you hear me? And you know where I am every minute of my life.
What time did you get in tonight?
I got in at 2 o'clock. I went to a bachelor dinner given for your broken-down brother Amos, who's going to get married tomorrow. We went all through this when I got home, didn't we?
You didn't tell me what happened at the bachelor dinner.
Nothing happened. Just a lot of men smoking and swapping stories.
No women?
No women.
How'd you get the lipstick on your collar?
It isn't lipstick, it's blood. I cut myself shaving tonight.
You didn't shave tonight.
Well, then I cut it yesterday.
You put on a clean shirt before you left. How'd the blood get on that?
I'm a slow bleeder. So what are you driving at, Blanche?
Don't act so innocent. I know all about these bachelor dinners. Don't tell me there were only bachelors there.
There were all married men and only one bachelor, your brother Amos.
No women?
No women. If you knew all about bachelor dinners, why didn't you make a party for them right here in your own house?
Because I'm not entertaining this season.
You're never entertaining.
Maybe I'm not. Not as much as those dancers at bachelor dinners.
Nobody danced. All we did was give a word of advice to a young man about to get married.
What was your word of advice?
Don't.
Sure. That's just like you to discourage my poor brother before he gets married. He's got a lovely girl and he's a wonderful boy.
Oh,
They'll get
wonderful.
along beautifully. What right did you have to discourage him?
Oh, I didn't discourage him. Everybody kidded him.
You hate being married, don't you?
No, I don't hate it.
You don't like it.
I wouldn't say that.
Why not, John?
It'll only start another argument. Why don't you let me sleep, Blanche? I have to get up so early in the morning.
We'd be much happier if you'd talk to me more.
Oh.
Mel Shaw tells Louise everything that happened.
Oh, what of it? I tell you lots of things that never happen at all.
You never convinced me. You just sat around tonight smoking and telling stories.
I swear that's all there was to it, Blanche. Except after the speeches were over, Amos awarded a high silk hat to any man who could get up and say he never kissed any woman except his wife since they were married. Mel Shaw won it.
Why didn't you stand up?
Oh, Blanche, you know I look like the devil in a high hat.
I don't know, John. You're certainly not the same man I married.
Don't tell me there's a loophole.
See, that's exactly what I mean. No matter how I try to be soft and pleasant to you, you'll always say some sarcastic remark and start an argument again.
Well, I'm just sleepy.
When we were engaged, you were never sleepy. All you wanted to do was hold my hand and stare at me. You said I was on your mind every minute of the day and night. You couldn't think of anything but me.
Well, I married you, didn't I?
What for?
So I could forget you.
That's no lie. Here you are running off every night to smokers and bachelor dinners. Leave me here all alone with no friends.
Oh, I never leave you alone.
Let me spend the rest of my days in solitude, growing old and feeble, nobody to give me any food and no strength to walk to the kitchen.
Blanche.
Why don't you get me a wheelchair, John?
Why don't you stop getting hysterical? Instead of 10 seconds, you made yourself 90 years old. You're just trying to start something again.
Nothing would ever start if you didn't snore like a steamboat.
Well, can I help it if I snore?
Yes, you can.
Oh.
Dr. Marvin says you snore on account of your windpipe.
Yes.
You have a flaccid trachea, and when you inhale, it flutters. Why don't you let him fix it?
Okay, I'll have it fixed next week.
You say it, but you won't do it. Let him fix it now.
What?
Go on, get up and let Dr. Marvin pull out your trachea.
Are you out of your mind? You think I'm going to let that butcher bore holes in my throat?
He doesn't bore, he just inflates it with a needle.
I don't care if he blows it up with a bicycle pump. Nobody's going to fool around with my trachea. Why, I never heard of such a thing.
Well, go sleep in the kitchen.
All right, I'll go sleep in the kitchen.
And on your way, I want you to send a wire to Amos and tell him marriage is good for him.
Now, wait a minute, Blanche.
I'm warning you, John. If you don't wire Amos this minute, I'll get my
All right,
things
all right,
and I'll-
all right. I swear you can think of more things to keep... Oh, my knee. Oh, put on the light.
The lights are on. Take off your sleep shade.
Sending wires at 4 o'clock in the morning to... Hello, Western Union. I want to send a wire to Amos Badger. Carry United Nations Pool Hall. Yes, that's where he lives.
Make it a nice telegram.
Say, Dear Amos, congratulations on your forthcoming marriage. You're doing the wise and sensible thing, and life will take on a new meaning for you. I only hope that you and your bride will be as happy as Blanche and I have been. I heartily recommend the serious step you're about to take. Just a minute. You want to add anything, Blanche? Blanche. Hello? Say, P.S. Blanche just fell asleep. Stay single, you idiot. Signed, John. Goodbye.
Now here is Don Amici and Francis Langford as John and Blanche Bickerson with Danny Thomas as Brother Amos in The Honeymoon is Over. The Bickersons have retired. Mrs. Bickerson writhes in sympathetic anguish at 2 o'clock in the morning as poor husband John, victim of contagious insomnia, or Schmo's disease, broadcasts the telltale symptoms during the crucial stage of the dread ailment. Listen.
It doesn't sound human. Worked out in a regular pattern. Now you'll get amused. Oh, no. John. Why aren't you laughing? John, wake up. You should be giggling and you're crying. What's the matter with you?
What's the matter, Blanche?
You're not snoring like you usually do. I was just getting used to your whining and giggling, but now you start crying and it throws me off completely.
What are you talking about?
You've got to stop it, John. I've never been so sick in all my life, and you won't let me get a minute's sleep. I don't feel well.
What hurts you, Blanche?
Everything hurts me. Call Dr. Marvin.
You don't need Dr. Marvin. I'll take care of you. Tell me where it hurts.
It's those clams we had tonight. I didn't want to eat them, but you kept insisting. You kept telling me clams are healthy.
Well, clams are healthy.
They are not.
They are, too. Did you ever hear one complain? I ate more than you did, and I feel perfectly horrible. I mean, fine. Where does it hurt you?
I think I'm poisoned. My whole body aches, and I've got a terrible shooting pain between my shoulder blades.
Well, lie still, and I'll fry you some cucumbers and hot root beer.
Cucumbers and hot root beer?
Make a new man of you.
You just want to finish me off, that's all.
Oh, Blanche, I'm only going to make a poultice out of it. It draws out the pain. It's a new medical discovery.
What's the matter with an old-fashioned mustard plaster?
Okay, I'll fix you an old-fashioned mustard plaster. Where's the bourbon?
Bourbon? What's that for?
To soak the mustard plaster.
John Bickerson.
Don't worry, I'll scrape the mustard off first. Where's the bottle?
I'm not going to stick any bourbon-soaked plaster on my back.
You don't stick it on your back, you hold it over your mouth and squeeze it. Put on the light.
I will not. I don't want you to touch me.
I'll bet you're not sick at all. You just thought this pain up to keep me awake. Why don't you leave me alone?
I can just hear you saying that's Gloria Gooseby.
Why should I say that to Gloria Gooseby?
Why, indeed? If you were married to Gloria Gooseby, she wouldn't stand for any of your nonsense.
I'm not married to her, and she stands for a lot more of my nonsense than you do. I mean, what do I care what she stands for? I despise Gloria Gooseby, and you know it.
Then why does she keep staring at you like she's hypnotized?
She doesn't stare. It's just that she wears those outlandish dresses, and they bring out her eyes.
They bring yours out, too.
Now, look, Blanche. Let's make a pact never to mention that woman's name again as long as we live.
Well, I keep thinking there's something between you.
I swear I don't know she's alive.
She doesn't mean more to you than I do.
She means even less to me than you do.
I don't like the way that sounded.
Well, don't go looking for hidden meanings. Now, if you're really sick, I'll do anything you want to make you feel better. Now, if you feel okay, all I ask is that you let me have a few hours. How's that fair?
No, I did have a little headache before, but now I've lost it.
It isn't lost. I've got it. Every morning when I go to work, I'm bleary-eyed, and I stumble around the office in a stupor. I don't know how much longer my boss is going to stand for.
Why do you stumble around, John?
Well, because I don't get enough sleep. I'm completely debilitated. And only last week, I failed to pass the insurance examination.
Was it the same examination you had before?
Well, certainly.
Then why didn't you copy the answers off of the old policy?
Not answers they want. They give you a medical checkup. And apparently I'm not such an ideal physical specimen.
I think you're wonderful. You've got the nicest legs of any man I ever saw.
In the meantime, I don't think I'm long for this world.
Am I responsible for it, John?
No.
I am, too. I know I am. John, can I talk to you?
Sure. Go ahead and talk.
I've been thinking about how we quarrel all the time, and I'm sure we love each other as much as any other married couple, and I know they must have their little arguments, maybe more than... John! You said I could talk to you.
Well, am I stopping you?
I want you to listen.
Okay.
I didn't know your health was bad, and I'm worried. If anything happened to you, I'd blame myself for not taking the proper precautions. Well, you know what I think?
What do you think, Glenn?
I think you ought to make out a will.
Make out a will? I thought you were worried about me.
Well, you don't want to leave me at the mercy of all those grasping relatives of yours, do you? The minute you drop dead...
Don't talk like that! Can't you say pass on or something like that?
Well, you always say drop dead.
Oh, well, that's only when I'm talking to your brother Amos. You should be a little more delicate when you're discussing wills.
Why?
Well, because you make it sound like I'm going to go any minute.
Well, they don't give you 2 weeks' notice, you know. You just told me you couldn't get any more insurance.
Oh, I can get all the insurance I want.
And I don't care. You should make out a will just the same.
Okay, I'll make it out tomorrow.
You say it, but you won't do it. Get up and do it now.
What?
Go on, get up and make out a will.
Why, you're out of your mind. In the first place, the will isn't legal unless you have 2 witnesses. And in the second place, I haven't got anything to leave in the first place. Unless you're thinking of that phony stock your thieving brother sold me.
What phony stock?
Those 500 shares of Kentucky saltpeter. They're not worth the paper they're written on. Nobody's going to take anything, and I don't need a will.
You're the most stubborn man that ever lived, John.
Why? Why am I stubborn?
It's the hardest thing in the world to make you admit I'm right when you know I'm wrong.
There's a woman's logic for you. Suppose I do make out a will and nobody can touch anything except you. Okay. So now you got all my worldly goods. First thing you know, you get over your grief and marry a guy without a dollar to his name. Like that broken-down snore specialist, Dr. Marvin.
Oh, I'm not going to marry anybody.
He'll give up his practice and take you for every penny. My hard-earned money. The little possessions I slave for. He'll drive my brand-new car. Drink my bourbon. Move around like a prince.
John!
Why don't you make the bum get a job, Blanche?
For heaven's sake, John, what's got into you?
Well, why did you start all this talk about wills?
Well, I'll tell you. Amos just got a job as a notary public.
Amos.
And he gets $2 for every seal he puts on a will.
I knew he was at the bottom of it, that chiseling grafter.
There's nothing wrong with my brother Amos.
No.
You're just jealous because he thinks up ways to make a living without working.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is a little brain.
Nobody's got littler brains than Amos. He's the cause of 90% of our fights.
Oh, go to sleep.
Go to sleep, he tells me. Practically talks me into a funeral. Gets a brother to steal my will. Keeps me up half the night with Gloria Goosey and clams. Now she tells me, go to sleep. Can't sleep. Never sleep another wink. Long. Hello. The phone's dead. It's leaking.
Put down that bottle of bourbon. I'll get the phone. I wonder who's calling it. Oh, my leg. Put the lights on.
The lights are on. Take off my sleep shade.
Hello.
Lance, this is Amos.
What do you want, Amos?
Hey, did you talk him into it?
No, and I'm not going to try anymore.
What are you talking about? Everybody's got to have a will. I drew mine up today. I left everything I have in the world to Jocko.
John,
Yeah?
Amos said he drew up his will today and left everything he has in the world to you.
Tell him I don't want her.
Amos, John says he's very pleased.
Fine, and you know one good turn deserves another.
Sure, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
It's very important to have a will, Blanche. You know, there's a big case going on right now, and all the relatives are fighting over the dough because a rich old lady didn't file a will.
Really?
Yes, she had $100,000 in cash and hid it in the bustle of her wedding dress. Hey, tell Jocko.
John,
Yeah,
An old lady died, and they found $100,000 in her bustle.
that's a lot of money to leave behind.
He says that's a
Never
lot.
mind. I heard him. I'll bring my notary seal around tomorrow, Blanche.
You better wait till I call you. Good night, Amos. Oh, dear. John. I've got that shooting pain between my shoulder blades again.
Oh, let's have a look.
Right here. It must be arthritis or neuralgia. It sticks me like a knife. What is it, John?
It's the price tag on your nightgown. Here.
No wonder my back was hurting.
Holy smoke, $48.50. Is that what that nightgown cost?
Yes, I just bought it this morning.
Oh!
What's the matter, John?
Now my back is hurting. Good night, Blanche.
And now, Don Amici and Francis Langford as John and Blanche Bickerson with Danny Thomas as Brother Amos in The Honeymoon is Over. The Bickersons have retired. Mrs. Bickerson tosses restlessly, while her husband John, victim of an obscure type of insomnia which manifests itself in constant and instantaneous sleep, exhibits the following symptoms of the dread disease. Listen.
Well, I'm just not going to stand it another minute. John! Sit up. Come on, sit right straight upright. Take off that sleep shade.
What's the matter, Blanche?
You're making me a nervous wreck with that snoring.
Oh, it's just your imagination. I never snore.
John Bickerson, how you can have the audacity to... John! If you weren't snoring just then, what were you doing?
Well, how do I know, Blanche? I was sleeping.
Well, that kind of sleep is no good for you.
Well, I love it.
It doesn't leave you rested. I hope you haven't forgot that you start work at a new job tomorrow morning. Your last one, you gave up because you weren't wide awake
Blanche,
enough.
I didn't give up my old job. You quit for me.
It's a good thing I did. You weren't making enough anyway.
Well, the new job pays less.
I know, but the hours are longer.
What kind of reasoning do you call that?
Well, there's more time to advance yourself. You'd do a lot better, John, if you patterned yourself after my brother Amos.
I hate your brother Amos.
At least he's a go-getter.
Well, then why doesn't he go get a job?
He doesn't need to. Amos is a shrewd businessman. He can get things from people.
He got plenty from me, all right.
You're just jealous. He makes good everywhere he goes. Even in the Army, he worked himself up to a field marshal.
He worked himself up to a buck private.
You know very well we got word that they made him a field marshal.
He was a private, and he was court-martialed, not field.
Well, what's the difference? Court-martial, field marshal. Did you set the alarm clock?
Yes, I set the alarm clock.
What time did you set it for? I wanted you to give yourself plenty of time, and from now on, you're going to eat breakfast with me before you leave.
Okay.
When you get it ready, just call me downstairs.
Get what ready?
Breakfast. It won't hurt you to prepare breakfast for both of us. Leo Goofy does it all the time. He brings it to Gloria on a tray.
Blanche, why don't you let me sleep?
Well, I like that. I don't let you sleep.
You can say that again.
It's your own snoring that wakes me up and makes me wake you to stop it, so you can get enough sleep so you won't be tired from sleeping the way you do.
You can't say that again. Why you can't?
Well, don't mix me up. I'm the one who never sleeps. I'm worried right now for fear you won't get up in time to go to work.
I'll get up in time. I can dress fast.
Your shirts aren't back from the laundry.
Well, then I'll wear the one I wore today.
You will not. You wear a clean one if you have to wash and iron it yourself.
Okay.
You say it now, but you won't do it.
I will.
You'd better do it now. Get up and wash your shirt. Go on. Get up and wash your shirt.
Blanche, are you out of your mind? It's almost 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, by the time you get through with the shirt, you can start making breakfast.
I never heard of such a thing. You know how I have to wrestle myself to sleep, and when I finally do, you lie there just waiting to wake me up like some jungle-prowling alligator.
Alligators don't prowl in the jungle.
Well, what do I care?
You'd wash your shirt quick enough if you were going to see Gloria Gooseby.
I don't need a shirt to see Gloria Gooseby.
I believe that.
Now, don't you start trapping me into saying things again.
With that kind of faith, you'd be trapped every time, brother.
Oh, Gloria Ghosty, I wish I'd never seen the woman in my life.
So do I. You're not the same person you used to be, John.
What's the matter now?
Whenever you're alone with me, you just sit and mope.
I don't mope at all.
I'll bet you're sorry you married me.
I am not.
You never say you're happy.
Well, I feel very happy.
Well, then why don't you say it?
I'm the happiest man in the world. Now, are you satisfied?
No, there's something missing, John. All our friends have such fun. With their children, I mean. The Goosebees have a baby. The Flafters have a baby. And yesterday the Martins had a baby. Everybody has a baby.
Blanche, it's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Such a beautiful little thing. Weighed 8.5 pounds.
That's wonderful.
They haven't decided on a name yet. I wonder if I could think of... I've got it. John, wake up. I thought of a good name.
Go to sleep. I thought of a bad one.
I'll phone them in the morning. Did you pull the stopper out of the alarm clock?
Mm-hmm.
Did you set it for 6?
7.
That won't give you enough time. You have to be at work by 9.
Plenty of time. I can leave here at 8:15.
There's no train after 7.
I don't need a train. I'm driving.
I'm afraid you'll have to take the train.
I'm taking my car.
It isn't here.
Here's too. It's in the garage.
No, it isn't. I lent it to Amos.
Well, then I'll... You what?
I lent your car to Amos. He wanted to go to the race.
Blanche, no. No, you couldn't. Not my car.
Don't get so excited. He promised to bring it back Tuesday.
Tuesday? It's a new car. He can't drive. He hasn't got a license. Why did you do that?
Well, he wanted to go to the racetrack, and he'd have to get up so early if he took the
But
train.
it's all right for me to take a train, huh? It's all right for me to go without sleep. And I'm going to work, not the racetrack.
Well, Amos has a chance of making a lot more money than you.
Now, look, Blanche.
Maybe you wouldn't have to go to work either if you get friendlier with Amos.
Now,
He
Blanche.
meets the right kind of people and always manages to figure out some money-making scheme, and he's bound to be a millionaire.
Then why does he keep borrowing from me?
If you're foolish enough to lend him things, you shouldn't complain. Go to sleep.
Go to sleep, she tells me. Sleep. I waited 4 years for that car. Never even had my hands on the wheel. And she gives it to that irresponsible maniac. Tomorrow morning I'll have the pleasure of opening my garage door and not finding my beautiful car.
You won't find the garage door either.
Why not?
Amos knocked it off as he was backing out.
Oh!
The garage is too narrow anyway. Go to sleep, John.
Oh, what are you going to do with a woman like that? This is too much. Car is too narrow. Never be able to sleep again as long as I...
John, get up.
Okay. Feels like I didn't sleep at all. How do you shut this darn thing off? Where's the stopper?
Put down the alarm clock. It's the phone.
Oh, I knew it couldn't be the alarm because I just... Oh! Put the lights on.
The lights are on. You've got the pillowcase on your head.
Oh. Where am I? Hello.
Jacko, this is Amos.
Rob dead! No, wait, Amos.
Yeah?
Where are you? Where's my car?
Can you stand the shock, Jacko?
No.
Hey, you know that 1,000 you lent me? Well, I went to the track and I got to worrying about it, see? So I made a few bets for you. I got $300 for you.
Honest? You won that much?
Oh, no, I lost.
But the $300.
Well, I was so worried about losing that I ran your car into a truck. I sold it on the spot to a junk man.
Oh, Amos, you didn't.
Oh, yeah, I'll bring you the money in the morning. So long, Jacko.
Amos, it's the end of the world. Turn out the lights, Blanche. I'm weak. Let me get back in bed. Why should one man have so much... Oh, right in the mouth. Oh.
John, did you hurt yourself?
What's the difference? I was going to have these 2 teeth pulled in. Good night, Blanche.